Welcome back to Daybreak Extra on Trust TV. Well, with the beginning of the show, we actually said we were going to take a look at one of the major issues that we have in Nigeria right now. That's apart from the fuel scarcity, the ASUU strike. ASUU has been on strike for a very long time, since February, and university students have been at home all this while, and it doesn't seem to be any end in sight to this particular dilemma. So we are trying to look at if there's any way forward, if there's any way out of this particular situation. And right now we're being joined by the National Chairman of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, who will actually give us a little bit of an insight as to the situation as it is on ground right now. Prof, good morning. All right, so we seem to be having some audio issues. We'll try to resolve that, and then we'll connect with Prof so that we can have an insight as to what's going on with the ASUU strike, because a lot has been said. The Labour Ministry has been talking about it, Labour unions, and of course the students, because most people actually believe, and this is also something that I share, that the attention has been moved away from the people that actually matter. And we're talking about government, we're talking about ASUU, we're talking about their demands, we're talking about what government is doing, but nobody's looking at the students. What the students are actually going through. You know, they've been at home since February.
If I'm out of school for 6 months, honestly, I don't think I would go back. Not because I do not want a degree, but strikes are, and there are events that seem to occur very often. So if you're out 6 months, you're supposed to be in school for what, 4 years? If you take out six months is half of the year for in school. So if you take out 6 months of your life that you're supposed to be in school, when you come back, where do you start from? How do you catch up? You are way behind schedule on everything. Do you even have that drive to want to go back?
No, definitely the drive won't
knowing
be there.
that maybe in the next month or in the next year, ASUU is going to come again with their demands, and you might miss out on another 6 months.
Because there's actually no guarantee.
Yeah, that's my question.
This is the last we're going to hear about. That's
strike,
even
exactly.
if they call it out, call it off.
Call it off.
Because we've been having strikes for
Over
a very
and
long
over
time.
and over again.
And some are short, some have lasted long, warning strikes, indefinite strikes, and at the end of the day, they get called off, we come back again, and then something happens and we go back on strike.
I don't think it's fair to hear someone say, a course that was supposed to take me 4 years ended up taking me 8 or 9 because my school was on strike for a year or 6 months and I missed out. So by the time I know the funny thing, they don't look at it in the instance of, take for example, lecturers, because those are another important people in the whole of this dilemma. Imagine a lecturer who takes up a job, with a private university, and his contract doesn't allow him work with a federal university. Now, when school reopens, those students under that lecturer would have to wait until the school can find a replacement. If they don't find a replacement, do they graduate without that course? If they do graduate without the course, is the student complete without that course? Like, things could actually happen in the 6 months that they've been on strike. It's not just, the problem is now bigger than ASUU and federal government. If students say they don't want to come back to school anymore, you're going to have lots of people working without degrees. Because offices that are meant to employ people that have certain skills, they can't find them anymore because people can't afford to go to school.
Because that's what I'm saying. What we're actually saying is that there's so much attention has been placed on other aspects of this strike. Like, whereas the people that we're there for, or the people that they should be there for, because ASUU, it's made up of lecturers.
Yeah.
They actually teach. If there are no students, who do you teach? You teach yourself. You understand? The federal government is supposed to be for the people. The students are the people. The students are not there, then you don't have no people.
But lecturers are the people too when you think about it.
They are the people as well when it comes to the federal government. But when you're talking about school, then we're talking about the students.
Yeah.
They are there for the students. You know, it's only in Nigerian universities that you actually go and you find students queuing outside a lecturer's office. while he's there, probably watching TV or reading the newspaper,
Yes,
and they're waiting for him. And then after they wait for like 2 hours, then he comes out and he says he doesn't have time to see anybody.
Yes,
that
come
he's
back
going
tomorrow.
Out. Exactly. that he's going- you
He has a
understand?
meeting.
Whereas it should be the other way around. You are there for the students. It's not the other way around. But I don't know what the sort of mentality that some of these lecturers actually have. That it's the other way around. That the students are there to serve them.
Personally, I think it's because they are not. As human beings, if you want, aside passion, aside having passion to do something, if you want to be able to do more, it's nicer when people give you incentives. You're inspired, you're pushed to do more. I feel that's the problem with the Nigerian public education sector, because look at it from the private sector. You can't find that happening in a private university. You know why? Because lecturer is being paid well. He's being paid to, focus on his students, teach them. If they come to you, they have questions, you answer.
So you believe Nigerian university lecturers are not being paid well?
Federal investors, no, I don't think they are being paid well. It's one of the reasons why they're on strike. I won't be surprised. They're not being. Look at it. Why do you think many of them, if given the opportunities, opt to go to private universities or even private secondary schools to teach?
But if you're not willing to do the job, or if you feel that the pay is not good enough, then why not leave?
That's what I'm saying.
Instead of you staying there and pouring out your frustrations. Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not that student's fault.
Yeah, but then that's the thing. It's going to be a continuous process.
It's not the student's fault that you're not being paid. It's not his fault that you're not being paid well, because he's not the one who pays you. So why will you unload your frustration on him?
Imagine having a recurrence of teachers who come, they are not satisfied, they leave.
Exactly.
It affects the students.
Then having those ones who are not committed, staying with them, putting them through the grinder, that doesn't affect them.
The problem is just too much, honestly.
So that's the thing. All right. So right now, I think we have resolved the audio issues that we actually have, and I think Prof is back online now. Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, it's nice to have you here with us. We just want to look at the current strike action embarked upon by the union. What is the current situation right now, sir?
The situation is that the strike is still ongoing. We have met with the government negotiation team. I raised some issue on agreement. They were supposed to come back to sign that agreement, and that's what we're waiting for now.
So, if going by by what you said, does it seem like there's the end is near for the strike action?
Hello?
Prof, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you. Did you hear me?
Yes, sir, I heard. So what I'm saying is that from what you said, it seems like the end is near.
If the government do the needful, yes.
All right, sir. So let's look at it.
Come and sign the agreement.
All right, so let's look at it from this particular perspective now. A lot of agreements have been signed before, and then at the end of the day, we still end up going on strike after a period of time. Is there any guarantee that that will not happen again?
You see, an agreement is supposed to be implemented by both sides. If we sign an agreement and government willingly sign without, and then they don't implement, there will be a strike. So Nigerians should advise government that if they sign this agreement, they should implement it. But if in the course of implementing they have an issue, they should call us back for meeting. That is how to negotiate. That is how to implement the negotiated agreement. But they will not, as soon as this is over now, the strike is over, it happens again. And that's what will be happening.
Okay, Prof, good morning. It's nice to have you here in the studio. I have a question I'd like to ask. Over the years, strike has been a form of, what I call it? Agitation to the government. But if this means is not working, why not try something else? Because not just everyone is being affected by the strike, from the students to the lecturers that are at home to the people who run small businesses on campus. So if we have ongoing strikes but they don't bring resolutions? Why hasn't there been another means of agitation?
I will also ask this Nigerian public so many times that you suggest to us what they believe is the other alternative. For ASUU, strike is the last option. If you recall, since 2020, we have been appealing to government, meeting the president, meeting all the interest group, get the direct to intervene, and nothing happens. So if you have reached such a level, do we allow the university to go the way of primary and secondary school that have collapsed? Do you still have a public primary and secondary school today that anyone want to go to? So that is behind the struggle. So it's not just about strike. Strike is the last option.
All right, so a lot of issues, or a lot of people have issues or have the opinion that most of these strike actions are being driven by personal interests. Personal interest in the sense that you talk about arrears being owed, allowances, freedom to use the payment system that you actually want, and the focus is not being made on students or the university system in general. Is that how close to the truth is that?
Very myopic, absolutely myopic. When you look at the issue we are talking today, is it just about that? We're talking revitalization fund. Are we about the issue of appropriate funding on university? Two, are we not talking about how the system the university should run? Let me give you an example. Go around all our universities. Would you see any foreign student in our university? Will you see any foreign lecturer in our universities? If they are not, how come I was going outside the country, go to Ghana, Cameroon, and what have you for program? So that is it. So anybody going in that direction is very myopic. This issue, even if a lecturer is properly paid, it's also part of what we have fed the student. So it's not correct at all, and it's a myopic way of looking at the issue. Let me explain to you. In spite of all the strike Nigeria keep on talking about, as I speak to you, so you have more private universities than public universities. But as I speak to you, so 95% of Nigerian students are still in the public university because of our struggle. Only 5% are in those private universities that people keep on saying they don't go on strike. They don't do this. If they don't go, let the student go there. So that is it. It's because of our fight. When you go around university, you see tech fund. It's our product. You see the assessment building, they are our product. So it's not correct.
All right, sir. Is there any meeting that has been scheduled between us and the federal government now to be able to sign that agreement we just talked about?
Yes, it's not for them to reach out to us.
All right, so how soon do we expect?
That depends on the federal government. If they reach us today and resolve all the issues, we call out the strike the next day. I'm not determining it because it's in their hand. This question should actually go to the federal government.
Prof, I'd like to ask, I know funding often comes up as one of the problems that ASUU faces. Have the universities tried to look at alternative means of funding? Because at the end of the day, depending on government has not proven, to be successful. So what other alternative funding means have the universities looked into?
Such as, let me explain to you, all over the world, government money to universities. When you go to Germany, government fund their university 100%. Even Britain, government put a large budget in education. In Ghana, they give between 16 and 20% of their budget to education. In South Africa, the same thing, 60 to 20. In the Western region, in those days, you said of they gave 30% to education. You saw the effect. Today, Nigeria have the lowest budget to education in the world. 5.4% is the lowest, against 25% recommended by UNESCO. So that is the problem. So it's not about the government, it's the willingness not to fund education. And you know why? Because here, the medical center will have to send their children, when they have headache, they run out of the country. So that is the problem. It's not about it's about the way to fund education. It's about the idea to ensure that the children of the poor have very low quality education, why their children are having good education outside the country. It's not about this thing. And let me also tell you, universities are already doing much. The capital project by federal government to any university is less than 100 million in a year. Capital project budget. The running cost, recurrent cost is less than million for each university. So it is those vice chancellors that are raising money to do other things. Today, when you go to a typical, they spend about 1.something billion naira every year on city. That money is sourced by the universities, not by federal government. So they already do, but the government should do their own by giving 20% to education or budget to education, and these children are resolved.
All right, Prof. So finally, now before we let you go, do you have any message there for Nigerian students out there who are currently at home?
My message to them, they are fighting for the future of Nigeria. They are fighting for the future of next generation. If the university start working today, when the generation come in, they will not have the problem they are having. So they are in a struggle. They are with us in a struggle to revamp, to change our Nigerian university system, so that in future we start have foreign students in Nigerian university. You start having the children of ministers in classroom with children of a messenger, having the children of a God in the same hostel as the children of a man. That is what they are fighting. Not be this. They should not feel bad. They are fighting for the future of Nigeria. And fighting together, we must win this to ensure that our children who are in public, the poor man's children, those who earn 30,000 naira per month, that their children attend good universities like those present political office holders attended in the 60s and 70s. We had good leaders that believe in education. They all attended public university. So why are they sending their children abroad? Because they have killed it. But we're struggling with these children. With these students, we will solve, we will recover this thing, recover our universities, and we can have university in the world.
All right, Prof. Thank you very much for taking time to speak with us this morning. And I hope the next time we speak, we will be celebrating the end of the strike action and, of course, getting the results that we need.